Are these the same as these? Okay. But in Chinese, what do you call these? And what do you call those? So you have hand things and foot things, right? Okay. That can be a problem because for you, it's the same idea but a different place. Whereas in English, we have different names, right? Okay, so what are these? These are fingers. And what are these? Toes. Okay? So that's something we might want to remember. We can't call them foot fingers, right? That doesn't work in English. Okay, are there other parts where in Chinese you maybe have one word for different ideas, and in English, different words? Or maybe in English, it's all the same, and in Chinese you have different words. Like, what's this? And what's this? In Chinese, do you use a different word for this? Okay. So, what's the difference in English? If this is hair, on my arm I have hair, on my legs I have hair. People have hair, right? But what about a dog?
Fur.
A dog has fur. So, when we talk about these ideas in English, people don't have fur. Okay? Even if guys have a lot of hair on their arms, some foreigners, you know, they look like a dog, right? But we can't call it fur. It's hair. And even some animals look like they have hair, but we can't call it the same. It's fur. Okay? Now, when the hair comes off, when you find it all over the floor, you know, dogs, they always lose their fur. Then we can call it hair, because we can look at one piece, right? Okay. But, have you ever counted your hair? Have you ever counted ear sensitive, right? So there's something else there. We can talk about a hair, or sometimes two hairs, right? But, 可数还是不可数？不可数。If the hair on your head is countable, then you probably want to wear a hat, right? So, we need to remember that this hair is not countable. We don't say hairs as a hair, right? Okay? But other things like eye, one eye, two eyes, okay? What else could be different? Different, say, with how you talk about it in Chinese. Again, if all we need is Chinese and English, Chinese, English, then that anybody can learn. But sometimes you will have some problems, like with hairs, as a hair and fur, right? So what else could be a problem? 中文的意思跟英文的意思有可能是一样的意思，可是字不一样用的。Use the words differently. So, what else can you think of? How about, let me use this. There are two different words there in English, right? How does that work in Chinese? Right? This and this is the same thing, right? But in English, we want to be able to say we have A mustache? Not an English word. How do we know it's not an English word? I'll make that a bit clearer. How do we know it's not an English word?
Because the A is different pronunciation.
The A?
Mustache.
What about this part here? If this is an English word, this should be a ch sound, right? So that's another thing we need to watch for with English vocabulary, English words. Some words are not English, but English uses them. But in Chinese, it's all Chinese. So, this is the mustache. That only means this part here. Under your nose, above your lip. This part here, okay? And the rest of it is all beard, yeah. Okay? So, we have different words there. This one doesn't come from English. And the more we talk about these parts, the more problems we're going to have with that. Okay, that's a good one you can ask about. Alright? But the thing is, all of these easy ideas, you notice body, arm, nose, foot, those are blended, they're all short words. In English, that's usually because these are easy ideas that are from the first part of our language. When English started, it was kind of like German. The people from Germany left, they went to England, and they used some very basic words for a lot of simple ideas. So things like your body, actions like eat, sleep, go, they're all from that language. But when we started cutting open bodies and looking inside, and we needed to name, okay, this bone here, or this one here, when we needed names for those, these words aren't enough. So then we start using Latin and Greek words. 这个就是拉丁文跟希腊文来的。因为我们的德文来的是不过 we just don't have enough words from this group. So, you were asking about another part of the hair. This part here, right? Well, to understand this word, it's actually really easy. What's this? What's this? Yeah. Brow is another word we use for your forehead. So the part between your eye and your brow is eyebrow. Yeah. And usually this is countable, right? Even though some people only have one eyebrow, right? This goes all the way across, but we still usually treat it as two. Okay, what else could we want to say? Okay, we also have these parts. Now we need a different word. So we have, okay. There, okay. So, these are eyelashes. And they're countable, okay? Eyelash refers to one piece of hair. We call them that because they have a different purpose. When you open and close your eyes, it helps to clean your eyes. So a lash is like this piece of string that you can use for that. So these are countable. trying to count. Now, there's always going to be other places where we have hair. And usually we just refer to it as where it is, you know, arm hair or hair on your arms, right? Nose hair, ear hair, there's hair everywhere. So most of the time we just talk about where it is. There's other things we might want to say though. Yeah, well, what about the parts of the body itself? We have the pieces, this is all your arm.
Can I call it from
That's a good question. What about this half of your arm? If what we have is your arm has two halves. So, can we say front arm? We have a problem now because in English, those words have a special relationship. And when we say front, we don't mean usually the part in the front, we mean the one in the front. So a dog has 4 legs. He has 2 front legs and 2 back legs. So if we talk about front arm, then the question is, if you have a front arm, do you also have a back arm, right? But that's why we have to watch for that kind of word. So we use a different word. We call that your forearm. Okay. And this is like other places in language. We try to use the same pieces of words. So if for, this part here, means the front part of, we use this on a ship. If we talk about a big boat or a ship, and we talk about the front of the ship, we use for. So, forearm. What about the front part of your head? Forehead, yeah. It's the same place as your brow, yeah. People use them in a different way sometimes, but basically it's the same place, yeah. Okay. What else? Okay, well, okay, the parts where your pieces go together. Sometimes they are more important to know the names of. So we tend to have a lot of one for every place we have a word, right? So I have to use a different color. All right, let's start here. What's this part here? That's your shoulder, right? Do you know why? Or do you know another place where we can use that? Because if we can understand why we use the word, then it's easier to remember. Like, what about this one here? That's an elbow, okay? A bow means something that bends. Now we use this for a lot of things now. A river can make an elbow, okay? We also have a lot of parts of things, like, say, pipes. If you have something that wires are supposed to go through, you have the straight part And if you have a place where it bends, that's an elbow. Okay? So we use the word elbow now for a lot of things like that where something bends. Okay? But shoulder doesn't mean the part that bends. What else could it be? If the elbow is the joint, it's the part that bends, so you're at an angle. But the shoulder is not that part. We use it to talk about this, but the meaning of shoulder is not the join. What else could it be?